Very well. It's with great joy that I'm here, to be able to be here in this room, greeting the President of the European Commission, Madam Ursula von der Leyen, the President of the Government of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, and our President of the Inter-American Development Bank, Ilan Godfine, and our brother Executive President, CAF Development Bank of Latin American Executive President, Sergio Grenadines, and my dear Ambassador, Foreign Affairs Minister of the Government of Brazil, our dear Celso Amorim, and my dear Ambassador Pedro Miguel, Ambassador of Brazil in Spain, business, men and women, all attendees, dear friends. I have great pleasure to participate in the opening of this business meeting, side by side of the President of the European Commission, of the Prime Minister of Spain, and of the Presidents of the IDB and CAF. I believe that are the companies, the universities, and civil society that give life and continuity to the relations between countries. This meeting reaffirms that our entrepreneurs are fully engaged in the relaunching of this historical alliance based on the certainty that the success of one is fundamental for our common success. Pandemics, COVID-19 pandemics, beside the loss of millions of lives, it's unorganized a productive system in all around the planet. The climate change shows clearly the urgency to preserve biodiversity and ecosystems. The democracy crisis leads to hatred, disagreements, violence, intolerance, undermining the living conditions in society and the planning of economic activity. The war in the heart of Europe has launched over the world the uncertainties and channels for war purposes, resources that were essential for the economy and for social programs. The arms race makes it even more difficult to confront the climate change issue. Vis-à-vis all these challenges, it's responsibility of the rulers, businessmen and women, and workers to rebuild the road to prosperity, to go back to industrial production, investment, and jobs. The Latin American countries and the Caribbean countries will continue to perform a strategic role for Europe and for the world, because we are a region with great opportunities for investment and to enhance consumption. We are countries that demand investments in infrastructure, diversified logistics, social and urban infrastructure. We are civil societies that undertake strong social mobility, for which we have new and very dynamic domestic markets integrated by hundreds of millions of consumers. The European Union is the second largest trade partner of Brazil. Our trade flow could go beyond this year the landmark of $100 billion. The agreement between Mercosur and the European Union, which should be balanced, which intend to conclude this year, will open new horizons. We would like to have an agreement that will preserve the capacity of the different parties to respond to future and present challenges. Government procurement are a vital tool to network investments in infrastructure and sustain our industrial policy. The US and European Union are leading and already adopt industrial policies that are very ambitious, based in government procurement and domestic content. Brazil has a great domestic market of 203 million people with great capacity for consumption that is still and still weak, and that will demand the enhancement of investments in consumer goods, inputs, and associated services. We will launch in the next days a new investment plan to confront the existing bottlenecks. After the last 6 years where we had a backwardness situation and stagnation, we will go back to create jobs of good quality, fight poverty, and to increase the income of the Brazilian families. The plan foresees going back to investments that were paralyzed, accelerating the ones that are underway and selecting new projects for investments. We will promote the modernization of our logistic infrastructure with investments in highways, railroads, hydroways, waterway projects, and ports and airports. Brazil has already an energy matrix of one of the most cleanest ones in the world. 87% of our electricity power already comes from renewable sources, against 27% of the world average, and 50% of all our energy is clean, while in the rest of the world the average is only 15%. And we will improve even better these figures because we are giving priority to the generation of solar energy, wind power, solar power, biomass, ethanol, and biodiesel. And it's also tremendous our potential for green hydrogen production. We can also highlight new opportunities in urban mobility, basic sanitation, disaster prevention, low housing financing, generating stimuli in the productive chain of transportation and construction. The extension of to the national territory of a network of high band with great capacity will serve as a basis for educational policies that we're trying to develop and prioritize in social inclusion and quality. An education of quality is a requirement for a growth that is based on technology generation and innovation, giving privilege to the knowledge economy. We will establish partnerships between government and the private sector in all these fields under public concessions and PPPs, private and public partnerships, and direct contracts. This new Brazil that will be more fair, with much more fairness and solidarity, will be rebuilt without giving up our commitments with the macroeconomic basis. The control of inflation and the balance of public spending are essential requirements to assure stability, a solid base for economic expansion and social progress. With the fiscal reform underway and tax reform underway, we're simplifying tax collection and making our economy more efficient. We have a robust financial system that will allow sustainable expansion of credit during the next years. Our high international hard currency reserves, today around $343 billion, makes us a safe buffer vis-à-vis external volatilities. When we launch this ambitious program of investment, I'm not thinking only and exclusively in my country. We don't want to be an island of prosperity. We will only grow in a sustainable way through the integration to our regional surroundings. In the last South American Leaders Summit meeting in May in Brasilia, capital Brazil, I have proposed to update the project portfolio of the Planning and Infrastructure South American Council, reinforcing multimodality and prioritizing projects of high impact of physical and digital integration, especially in the border regions. When we built the Bio-Ocean corridor that links center and west Brazil to the ports in the north of Chile, reducing the cost of our exports to the Asian markets and creating job and income for the interior of the Latin American or South American continent. When we hosted the summit meeting of the Amazon countries that will happen next August, we tried to network common initiatives for the protection and sustainable development of this biome with other 7 countries of South America in the Amazon region. We have a unique natural asset in our hands in terms of drinking water, biodiversity, and forests. This condition makes us very responsible in the management of this wealth for sustainable exploitation and preservation in an inclusive way, which is something that is a national imperative. In the previous terms, we reduced deforestation 80%. This time, we have taken the commitment to eliminate deforestation in the Amazon, zero deforestation till 2030. And already in this semester, we managed to reduce deforestation in 34% vis-a-vis compared to last year. We're now launching the basis to re-industrialize the country with undertakings that will be less pollutant, with greater technology density and creation of jobs, green jobs and quality jobs. Brazil has come back to the international scenario to contribute to confront the challenges that our planet faces, such as climate changes and the increase of inequalities. We are going to prove, as we already did in the past, that it is possible to produce and to grow in a sustainable way and in an efficient way. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to send to the world a sign, a signal that the two regions of great strategic importance as Europe and Latin America and the Caribbean region are committed with a very promising agenda, a peace agenda of cooperation, of enhancing trade and investments that will create new jobs and sustainable growth. When we have a lot of money in the hands of very few, then we have income concentration and very few people consuming, while many face difficulties. With a better income distribution and money in the hands of many, not few, we can make available resources on the base of society, increasing consumption and generating opportunities in services, in the manufacturing and agricultural industries. This is true in each one of our countries, and even more true when we think of this in global scale. Brazil is doing its part with a strategy for the long term, focus on credibility, predictability, and judicial stability, social inclusion and economic stability. Only this way that will be managed to develop in a definite way our countries. These are the essential factors for us to build a future that is full of opportunities. Thank you very much.